episode of Raging Out in Clash. As always, my name is Jen, and I'm here with SK.
Hello.
And today we are going to talk about a few things. Again, we have an update, that's the spring update that's going to be coming out, so they released a couple other sneak peeks. We're going to talk about the quality of life changes that are coming up, and we're going to talk about a thing called Super Troops. They've sent out a couple videos on some of these new troops that they're going to be having, so we're going to talk about that as well. We're going to touch briefly on clan games, just kind of how we've done as those are wrapping up today. We're going to talk about our war streak. We're going to update everybody on how that has gone. And we're going to talk about... What else are we going to talk about?
Well, we've got Can't Fix Stupid, obviously.
Yes, we've got a couple... definitely have a couple Can't Fix Stupids.
Just general chat. We'll see where we end up.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay, I think that's fairly a packed agenda.
Okay.
How about we touch on clan games? Because we talked about that last one.
Yeah.
We can quickly touch upon how how did we get on? We already thought that the rewards were pants, but
The rewards aren't too bad. I mean, for me, I'm excited because there's a hero book, and that's in the 5th tier. In the 6th tier, there is a Dark Elixir rune and a Gold rune, which for me, all I have left is pretty much Dark Troops, and my King and my Warden, so that Dark rune will definitely help for that, and the Gold rune will probably go towards walls, because...
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you and I both said they're not as amazing clan game rewards as they have been, but in terms of their usefulness, could they be more useful now that there's an update coming? So you get, 7 days to claim your rewards after clan games end. So, in theory, you could not claim your rewards until the update drops and then use your runes for the various, upgrades that are coming out instead of walls.
But I don't think, as Town Hall 12, we did discuss that last time, I don't think there's any reduction for Town Hall 12.
But is there not some levels that you can now do?
Of Elixir Troops?
Is there not some... it's only Town Hall 13 that has defensive upgrades?
Yeah.
Okay, well then the clan game rewards just got more useful for me then.
Yeah, there was an addition to I think Town Hall 11 with a level that they could do. I think on their Dark Drill. Or was it Town Hall 10 on the Dark Drill? Or something like that.
I think you're right. I think it was 9.
I
think it was 9 because they're trying to get over the 9 bump.
Yeah. So I mean, like you said, the clan games, they weren't spectacular. There was only one book, but I mean, there's 2 runes. And I mean, as somebody that's maxed clan games, you and I both will have, 2 choices in the whichever.
I think it's a given it's going to be runes.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anyone not choosing the runes in comparison to the other available rewards.
Yeah.
Particularly with this update coming out. I mean, and that is a fair point in terms of this update dropping. I should wait then before claiming my rewards. Because I have already got, I can't remember which one, a rune of some sort. So I should wait until the update drops and then use a rune and then claim the other one back so they get technically 2 stacked runes. And I guess that could also apply for the season pass.
I was just going to say the season pass is going to be in there as well, because that ends in 5 days, I think.
And that had, was it a dark elixir rune and 2 elixir runes? Is that right?
Mm.
So, and I have not collected any of them because
I think I've used my dark rune.
I am a hoarder, so I did not trade mine for gems until I'm very much forced to at the, at the end of the season. And I have not collected any of my elixir rewards, I guess, on the non-gold pass line. But I can't remember if there's anything that needs elixir. But I'll have my dark elixir, which will become useful, I guess.
You get a level of poison spell.
Dark elixir? You update that with dark elixir, don't you?
Yeah. I'm trying to think, do you get anything?
You get a Valk.
Valk is dark.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Let's see here.
Wallbreaker?
Town Hall 13. Troops, you get Goblin. Or no, I get Goblin and Barbarian. You get Minion and Valk. So those are both dark. And then your spell, you get Poison.
Okay, so no elixir troops. Woohoo! 2 elixir troops, 2 elixir runes down the drain. I could have had 3 elixir runes stacked up.
No, because you'll get more walls. And you can use that elixir rune for walls.
But I just don't feel like I'm getting my value for money spending an elixir rune on a wall. Jeez.
Town Hall 11 got the Gold Mine Elixir Collector and Dark Drill upgrade level.
Okay.
You get, as a 13, you get Archer Towers, Mortars, and a Bomb Tower.
So again, still no regular elixir usage. Oh well, 3, that's 3, well, technically 2 because I'm a hoarder, remember. That's 2 elixir runes bent on walls. I feel so rewarded. But the dark elixir will be handy, the dark elixir rune. I'm probably gonna put, well, I already have a spell. I'm gonna have to do the maths and time my laboratory because I have a spell book. I've had about 3 and I had to exchange them for gems, but I have a spell book, so I could put in poison, book it, and then put Valks in. Do I have a training book? I might have a training book, so then I could book that and then put minions in. Because I have 2 dark elixir runes.
Or you could just save your books, save the gems, and wait the 10 days or 14 days or however long it is. It's not like you use those troops anyway.
No, but then again, I would so totally be behind that argument because I am a hoarder, but then on the flip side, with these, clan games coming, new season passes coming, just always gonna be exchanging for gems, aren't I? So I might as well use them for what they're built for, and just get them early. And who knows? Once they've released Valks, they might be OP again, and it'll be the new meta, and then everyone will start requesting Valks, and I have to use it in war just to stand a chance, and so before they nerf it again. So I'm thinking, yeah, I could do it that way. But because I am also a hoarder, I'm not gonna spend them all. I will all still have a fully stored deck of runes. It's only the excess that I would spend the rune. But so yeah, I'm gonna have to do some planning out because I reckon the update's gonna come Monday, Tuesday. Now they're probably gonna release the last sneak peek tomorrow. and then probably drop it on Monday. That would be my guess. Either drop it on Monday or probably Tuesday. I don't know why. I just don't think they like to do it on a Monday. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be soon, because this Super Troop thing is probably the last bit of their sneak peeks and.
Mm-hmm. Well, shall we talk about the other sneak peeks then? Shall we start with the Super Troop then? See, as that seems to be their, I guess, their main content update. Okay, main new content in this update.
So there's a new Super Troop. There's 4 new Super Troops coming to the home village. And each of the Super Troops has a unique ability that is different from the normal counterpart. And you can only use one Super Troop at a time for 7 days. After the 7 days, there's a 7-day cooldown. So it's for Town Hall 11 up and only.
But they can be donated.
They can be donated, yes. So the Town Hall 11, 12, and 13 is now going to have a barrel-looking hut where their loot cart used to be. And that's where the troops are going to go in and get supercharged and powered up and whatnot. And yeah, so there's going to be 4 of them. They can be donated.
So I guess before we go into what those troops are, I do have a question, because I don't know if it's been covered yet. But I take it you don't need to build this thing.
I would think not, no.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's a good thing. I was just wondering whether that would use elixir.
I'm thinking it's like the trader. It's just there.
It's just there. Oh, well, that's good then. Just appears out of nowhere. But I guess I was asking whether you needed to build it was because it produces troops. Mm. But I mean, it's not a barracks. It must, because you must have to make the troop, and then they must come out the barrel, rather than your barracks, I guess. So yeah, so it's weird because it's sort of a hybrid between, well, you don't get it for free, but you do. Does that make any sense at all?
Not really.
I think just because it's like a laboratory, it affects your troops. You gotta put something in to get something out. Whereas your laboratory, you can upgrade that per town hall.
I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work.
So, do you want to start off with the first troop?
You can start off with the first troop.
Okay, so the first troop is I don't know the name. Is it just called the Super Barbarian? Mm-hmm. Okay, he's just called the Super Barbarian. So this Barbarian is basically, he is raged for the first set amount of time. And he's supposed to have better HP. I think he's stronger, as in more damage and things like that.
Is it?
I think so. Now, when this first came out, the first thing I thought was, woohoo, we're getting the builder-based troops. Because that is essentially what that is. if we had to describe what it was, it's just the builder-based barbarian.
Right.
So I personally was not like going, oh, that's so exciting. Because I don't know, when they were talking about new content, it didn't seem new. What did you think?
I thought it was kind of dumb. I'm never going to use a super barbarian because I never use barbs.
I mean, it might be useful for people that use the troop for farming.
Could be, yeah.
And you have used barbs before, though.
I have never used a barb.
Have you never used a barb?
I've never used barbs.
What did you use to farm when you were?
I used dragons to farm.
When you were Town Hall 6.
I used giants and wizards. I always went in with a war army. I always wanted to do my best, so I wasn't using barbs and archery.
But then, you're not being efficient with your farming.
I was getting better loot being in a higher league.
But your army costs more.
I played a lot where I raided a lot.
Yes, you did not sleep. Because, I guess I'm just saying, people that are true farmers would see this as a good trip to use. And also, and a part of me does think that there's an element of untapped potential. It might be minuscule, but I do think that there's some element whereby these earlier troops that you unlock are not utilised in perhaps war attacks. And that's something that we as a clan also discourage, using those troops. But I do think that there is a small window of something. Mainly because I think they are very small in terms of housing space. Okay? And I think that, and they're not viable right now, but I'm just wondering whether later on they could be more viable. Because when you think about it, I don't know how much housing space that barbarian takes, but a regular barbarian is just one housing space, right?
I'm wondering if the super troops are doubled, because the super giant, it says it's 10 housing space.
Yes. I mean, giants are still useful. I'm talking about the barb, the goblin, well, maybe not the goblin, but the archer and things like that. And the archer's useful. Okay, I'm just talking about the barbarian. Nobody really uses a barbarian anymore. Right? If I use a barbarian more, which I did, just in my last war attack, he's just cannon fodder. He's there to lure out the CC, to test, spaces, gaps in their war base, for traps. So he is technically useful, but not because I am imagining him to live long. But part of me feels like there's something there that you could use whereby numbers could overwhelm things, similar to this bat attack, right? Whereby you're raging out these bats, and it's the sheer volume of these bats that are, sort of overwhelming these defenses, right? So a part of me is thinking, there must be some potential in having, a lot, that this troop is only one housing space. Now, I don't know if for this super barbarian, which is he's fatter, I don't know if that opens up more windows. But I've gone off on a tangent now. You're looking at me like I'm like, oh god, there she goes. So I'll let you talk about the next troop then. Fine.
The next one is Sneaky Goblin, and again, it's something that I wouldn't use. Apparently it's kind of like the Sneaky Archer in Builder Base, where it is invisible for a couple seconds while it's doing damage, and yeah.
What do you think?
Honestly, I'm not fussed about the super troops because, like I've already said, they're not troops that I would use. So it's not something that I'm excited about in the update. It's just I'm not interested in it at all.
But, I think people in the forums and YouTubers and all that people were saying that you could have a blimp full of goblins or, some sort of tanking thing with some goblins. And if they're invincible or invisible for a set amount of time, if you've got something that goes for the town hall, of which is a resource to a goblin, and let's not forget that goblins do extra damage on resource storages, then you could have a town hall that drops particularly fast. And particularly when you have a town hall that only has, 5 beams? And that's just 5 troop space. You could easily overwhelm the number of beams with your goblins. So there might be some potential there.
Not for me. I'm not going to be using that in any kind of war attack.
Well, just you wait. You'll tell me, oh, I was watching whoever's stream and they're using this attack and...
I'm not interested in any of them. It doesn't even pique my curiosity what the fourth one is that they haven't revealed yet. Like, it's just, I have no interest in the super troops whatsoever.
Well, the third one, which is the super giant, have you seen it? Have you read the... Have you seen... Okay, you should read that one, because actually this one is a bit more interesting than the other two, I would say. So are you watching? The videos are super short, which is helpful, but they don't show much, I don't think, because there's not... I mean, that also shows just how limited they can be, because there's not much to show off in those videos.
Yeah, no, again, I don't use giants, so for them doing double damage on walls, for me, it's nothing, because I don't use giants in my attack.
Okay, but being devil's advocate here, do you not see that there could be, this could be a viable troop in war? Because we all know that, when you have a wall breaker fail, it can make or break an attack, right? And when you have giants that go for defenses, and defenses, most of the time are behind walls, then they are much more reliable than a wall breaker. I mean, you're gonna take 4 wall breakers anyway to bust open a wall. And that's what one giant maybe, but if you get 2 giants, then you're still getting that tanking, but you don't get the stupid wall breaker fail whereby, an archer tower has one-shotted your wall breaker and then you don't bust open that wall.
For me, I'm not going to add giants in my armies and try and learn them try and learn to do and bust into walls like that. I won't. I'll take wall breakers. I'll take an extra 2 wall breakers.
But are you just refusing to use them, or just...
I don't see... someone for you who uses giants in your army, I can say, okay, yeah, you can see the value in it. I've never used a giant. I've never used a goblin. I've never used a barbarian. So these troops mean absolutely nothing to me.
But this is why... I'm pretty sure this is why Supercell has released some of these troops, because they're probably seeing that these troops are underutilized. And so they're trying to encourage more usage. So just because you've never used a goblin, a giant, doesn't mean that there aren't, new attacks that are viable for you to use in war.
Right, but you've said, and how many people in the clan come into the clan and don't use wall breakers, and their troops are bashing on walls and they're dying. Like, the giants will do the same thing. Yes,
they're extra tanky though.
They're still going to be dying behind the walls trying to get in, regardless if they're doing double the damage. Plus them being 10 troop space.
But they're tanky and they do the same job as a wall breaker.
Two giants to do the tanking and to get into the walls is what an ice golem and 2 or 3 wall breakers under rage can do. Plus the ice golem you're getting free.
But you're spending a spell if you're gonna use a rage.
How many times have you gotten your giants actually anywhere out? Like, your giants die outside the walls every single time.
But I'm not using my giants to get into the base. That's not why I'm using my giants.
Okay, but then why do you need a giant that's doing double damage to the wall to get inside the base?
Well, because, okay, let's put it this way. I don't have a giant that can bust through walls right now. So, yes, I do bring like 2 or 3 giants, but that's not what their purpose is. I'm not trying to get them in the base. That might change later on. But I might, so like for that particular style of attack, I have a usage assigned for that giant. That's not to say that I'd have the same usage assigned to that giant that can bust down a wall break. That can bust down a wall. What I'm saying is, though, that I'm not going to discount this giant that can bust through a wall because it does, to me, I think it does open up possibilities, because I think, personally, for me, and probably for some other people, there's too much of a reliance on your wall wrecker to get through walls. So I could instead use super giants that I know will get in through the wall, and perhaps think about using other siege machines. So just because I do not view these troops as these are straight up substitutes for the troops that I'm using now in war. I'm thinking that these troops can be used differently for different reasons. Yeah. And I agree with the other 2 troops, the Barb and the Goblin, probably not as powerful in war. Probably still going to be relegated to farming troops. Yes, they're probably good for funneling, good for sniping a town hall, but when you're going for, a 3-star, it's all or nothing. You're spending everything on that blimp to get to the town hall, what have you. But the boxer, it's not a boxing giant, even they keep saying it's not the boxer giant, it's a super giant. But I do think that there's potential to use giants because he's breaking down walls, right? And number one thing is they always bash on walls trying to get on defense and start dying. They're more tanky, they break walls, but they're still less space than a lot of the other tanks, right? I mean, your golem's still 30, your ice golem's 15, so you're still getting that kind of trade-off. So, and I have seen in the past, like, talking way in the past, right? But I've seen giants being used effectively in war when you have a herd of them. Not a Town Hall 8, that's still a farming army to me, but I have seen, I don't know if you were in the clan at that point, but there was one war that we had whereby this guy used more than a few giants, but he used them effectively, and I'm thinking that kind of style of attack would be devastating if they were super giants. I mean, you think about it, the giant goes for defenses as well. Anything that goes for defenses has always been that, okay, we should use that, like hogs, like the bat spell.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different when you're talking about a Town Hall 9 who doesn't have as many walls as a Town Hall 13. Whereas a Town Hall 13, you've got how many compartments? Those giants aren't going to get through a second layer bashing on walls because they're going to die, regardless how tanky they are, versus a Town Hall 13 defense.
But then again, look at what base design is happening right now. There's a lot of asymmetrical ones that, some of them are open spaces. You know, there's always going to be some bases that are viable for a particular attack and not for others. So, I mean, I don't know. They might come out and be completely crap, you know, and fair enough. But I mean, because you and I don't know, I think there's potential there. You're looking at me like, you know, in 2 months' time, you'll be like, I told you! I told you!
Well, like I said, you know, I'm glad you're excited that there might be.
I didn't say I was excited. I'm just saying that, you know, this is what they're giving us. You know, it's not making me go, ooh, you know, I'm so excited, but this is what they're giving us, so this is what we have to work with, you know.
And I'm just saying that I don't even plan on working with it because it's of no interest to me to even train one, to do anything with one.
Okay, but you said that about Yetis, so...
And I haven't used a Yeti yet, and I don't ever plan to use a Yeti.
Okay.
Because Yetis to me are like witches. And I've never... When's the last time you've seen me use a witch? I don't use witches.
But I think that as a war player, I don't... I mean, you know, I haven't used the Yeti either. Right? So, I mean, I've never used a miner either. But I think as a war player, you could... I think it's narrow-minded to shut off half of your options based on troops that you don't intend on using. You know, we always say you should be a rounded player. You know, you don't...
I have plenty of armies that I can use at Town Hall 12 without ever having to trade a Yeti or a witch.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. I'm just saying that keep an open mind, that as in, this is now what, 4 troops that you're never going to use?
No.
Possibly 5 if you include the Yeti?
I'm not saying that I'm never ever going to use them. I might, you know, train one day just to see what it's like. But for me, like, I've seen the attacks. I've seen what people, like, I've seen streams. I've seen people use them in Elite Wars. And it's not for me. It's not a true... It's like you. You don't use miners. You don't like miners. That's fine. I use miners because I enjoy using them because I know how they move through the base and I know it's a troop that I like using. But for me, that's Yetis. That's witches. I won't use them.
Okay. I don't use miners, you're right. But I understand why they're useful.
Oh, absolutely, and I understand why Yetis are useful. I understand why witches are useful. I'm not saying that I'm not gonna, like, if I've got all singles on a base and I think maybe 1 or 2 witches might help, you know, distract some of these singles, I would throw them in. And I'm not saying that they're not good because obviously, you know, Yetis are because they're being used in CWL. It's just, it's not an attack that I would use. Obviously, it's strong because they're 3-starring Town Hall 13s with them, but it's not an attack that I'm going to use.
Fair enough. So, to sum up, what do you think of these super troops?
I think that some people will enjoy them, but they are not troops. They will be what the Yeti is for me. I'm not going to be excited about it one way or the other. It's just going to be another troop in my thing where I look at it and pay no attention to it because I just will never use it. And I'm not negating using those troops like ever, I mean, once, people start throwing videos out about them and whatnot, try this attack, I'll obviously look at the attack and see what it is. But if they were to come out with a troop like the Royal Ghost, now the Royal Ghost, I absolutely loved. I don't know how you felt about the Royal Ghost, but the Ghost I liked because it was so good for farming. Because it was invisible for so long, you could actually get into a base to get all the resources.
So isn't that what your sneaky goblin is?
No, because the ghost would go through the wall.
You have a jump. You have Quadquake.
You're not getting the point. You didn't have to use a single spell. All you used was the ghosts. And I'm serious. The amount of loot, I remember those troops. The amount of loot that I would raid in an hour's time was absolutely insane with those troops.
Then you haven't used goblins a lot to farm because,
I've seen how to do, goblin knife or whatever. But to do that, you have to drop trophies, and go on pretty much dead bases. It's just because the bases that I want to be hitting when I'm farming are war type bases because I want to be practicing for war.
But how can you practice for war with a temporary troop?
What?
How can you practice for war if you're using a temporary troop?
I'm saying that ghost one was the only time where you didn't even have to drop trophies because it was wherever their collectors were. Even if they were inside the base, you sniped a few of the outside ones with the ghost. As soon as they disappeared, you sent in the rest, and they got all of the things inside the base.
But you can also do that with Goblin Knife. You do not have to drop trophies for that.
But you have to use jumps. What I'm saying is that ghost army, all you had to use was ghosts. You didn't have to use any spells.
But your ghost army was probably more expensive than goblins and spells combined.
I don't know. I don't know what they cost.
All I'm saying is, I don't even know what I'm saying now. So, I guess one side effect of this super troop element is that it costs Dark Elixir to run. So I think the Supergiant, is 60 Dark Elixir? 60,000? So that can be used as a Dark Elixir dump for maxed out players sitting on full storages. And I think that's something that they've tried to incorporate in.
Thankfully, I have 9 more levels of my king. So I don't need to dump any Dark Elixir in this new barrel of super troops.
Well, all I'm saying is you'll eventually max out and you could then use it.
I could, or it'll just sit there and I'll upgrade it because it needs to be upgraded or whatever.
I'm getting a lot of negative, I refuse to use it for whatever purpose at all vibe here.
Like I said, unless I see, people posting video, and I'm sure they will, using the super troops, doing whatever with them,
or you could try and find it out yourself.
That's not how I intend on playing the game. When I farm, I use my war army or an army that is strong, and that's just because I'm using different armies to practice war attacks. I'm not going to be using a super giant, a super barbarian, a super goblin, or a super whatever else they come out with to practice for a war attack. So I'm not.
Yeah. All the thing is, you could find out your own attack with these troops. Maybe not wait for your, YouTubers to tell you how to use them.
Because I have no interest in using them to begin with, so I won't be testing out and trying things. I just, like I said, and that just stems from I have never cooked a giant. I have never used Barch ever to farm. you could tell me what goblin knife is, and to me, I think goblin is just all goblins with jump spells. Like, I have no idea what it even is. I've never seen it, never used it, never intended to ever use it. So it's just not the way I chose to play the game. So I'm not going to start playing it now with these little super troops.
All right. Fair enough. All I'm saying is don't close yourself off to parts of the game. Well, I mean, not that we would play Build a Base by our own admission. We only play the Build a Base to get the builder. But, okay. And I guess the other sneak peek that we had was the quality of life.
Yes.
Why don't
I was
you...
quite disappointed in those two.
You're very doom and gloom today.
No, it's just this update. I thought it was going in a totally different direction, and I'm quite disappointed with what's coming out.
Okay, well, why don't you go through them?
So the quality of life changes. The first one is you can now request specific troops for your clan castle when you put up your request. You can also request max only troops. There's a little ticky box that you can tick. So my thoughts on that are, I understand that people sometimes get donated wrong troops. It's annoying. I think for war, it will help because people won't get wrong donations for war if they click the max button, which for our request, war is to be max. But I can also see a problem with people forgetting to untick the box and requesting regular troops and wanting max, and other people not being able to donate because they've got the max button clicked. And I can see it being an issue with new people who just always want max troops.
But then, and again, I feel like I'm always giving you a different opinion, but the flip side of that is these new people that are requesting max troops won't get troops. Yep, you know, I mean, they will eventually, but...
And in turn, our clan, the donations for everybody is going to go down because then that request is going to be sitting up there. Nobody's going to be donating to it because they can't donate to it. So who's going to come on, you or I or our Town Hall 11, and they're going to see a request sitting up there to fill the troops, and they're going to get max troops because we don't leave requests sitting in chat.
But, okay, so I will address this point and how I think it'll work in our clan. Okay, so first of all, the new joiners that request max troops, they will get told that they can't do that because we as a clan have decided that you don't request for max troops unless they're for a war attack. That enables lower town halls, or enables everyone to donate. You know, free troops is free troops. You know, for farming and raiding. So the new people that request, and they only request for max, I view that as a good thing because it won't get filled, and therefore they don't seal their own fate by requesting max troops and we have to go and give them heck. For other people in the clan, they know how our clan works, so they should be turning that off. If they're not turning it off, then they'll know why their request is not getting filled.
But I'm saying the request will get filled because if nobody else is filling it, you or I or our Town Hall 11... But
why would I fill it if it's not for a war attack? I personally don't fill people's requests if they've got, you know, a troop level in there and I know it's not for a war attack.
Well, but do you know how these requests are going to come up in chat? Is it going to say max this only? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you know?
Well, I mean, I don't know because it's not been released. But
that's what I'm saying. So, like, is it going to say...
But we will know when we see that it's not being filled by AGs and there's other people on and they're like, how come I can't donate to you?
Are they going to say that, or are they just going to leave it because they can't fill it?
Well,
I don't know, because I don't know how it's going to be.
Yeah, but you and I could use. Unfortunately, we will have to use our brains and say, okay, look, if there's a lot of these requests coming up, nobody seems to be filling them up. Why is that? Yes, you may have to deal with an initial period whereby people are requesting max, and if they don't say that they only want max, then we will notice because.
I don't want to be doom and gloom, but an initial period in our clan is pretty much every 6 hours when we get new people.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I think there'll be a mechanism, be it just looking at chat and seeing what the state of play is, where there's a request and that doesn't seem to get filled. See, for me, I don't know about you, but we all know that you like to snipe requests. So you're gonna have to tone that down, and you're just gonna have to see, I see the request and I'll start kicking the troops, but.
So if I have the troops cooked, I'm just supposed to leave it sit there?
No, but then at the same time, all I'm saying is we can have this discussion, I guess, at a later point in time because we don't know what's going to happen, right? We don't know if it's going to say only wants max troop, and therefore we are having a pointless conversation. But I reckon, same as how we can deduce other things, I reckon that we will be able to tell what happens when people are only requesting max. If I'm only ever filling this person's request and nobody else fills it, that's a pretty good indication. And if it does become a problem, you and I are just going to have to, get the other leaders and have a think about, okay, well, how do we resolve that? But until we know.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, it might not be doom and gloom.
Well, like I said, I can already see the problems with new people wanting max troops, and if they request and it says max only, it's still they're requesting for max only troops. So that request is still up there. Yes, people can't donate to them, which is good because the request won't get filled. But then that indication mark is still in chat annoying me, and
But you know that we deal with those people.
Yeah, they have to donate, and then if they don't and go offline, then it still sits in chat.
But then you're just gonna have to suck it up, I guess. I have to suck it up when they first released these machines, and it's always on the. I can't remember. There is one instance whereby there's one where there's always going to be an indicator, and I can't fill it.
What do you mean?
I can't remember, but I do remember there was one where, unless they did fix it, but you're just gonna have to. I think you're just gonna have to get used to the fact that there may be an indicator. If you want, you could just kick them. If they're new and they're requesting and nobody's filled it, even though they've donated, then ergo they must be requesting match troops.
I don't know. It'll be curious to see how they do it, how it comes up.
We can have another gripe later.
Okay, the next one. Clan castle troops will now deploy in a specific order. Lowest housing space first, finally by lowest level first. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it could be useful for the hardcore pro players. I think that there's some tactical decisioning about how troops are deployed, because I know people have been asking about how that works. I remember some people in our clan specifying the order of troops to be denuded because they thought that it either comes out one way or another. So I think that there is going to be some tactical benefit knowing this information, but it's probably only going to be utilised by the hardcore pro players. What do you think?
I don't know.
You don't care.
It's never really. Well, don't say that and roll your eyes, because I told you that this update was not what I was expecting. So I'm not excited about a lot of these points. So yeah, for lowest troop coming out first, I mean, the only thing that it would matter for me is if you've got archers in your, war CC and you've got 15 archers coming out, yeah, you want those 15 archers coming out before, something else coming out, like your minions or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's like if you had 15 archers coming out, or worse, barbs, because they're slower than archers, and then a dragon comes out afterwards, and, that's going to take time off of, if you're luring and killing a CC, that takes time, and you only have 3 minutes.
Well, and I mean, if you fill up with 20 archers and 2 barbs, or 20 archers, 8 barbs, and you throw a witch in at the end, that's 28 single troops coming out, plus a witch who's slow, spawning skellies. Like that, like you said, that's a lot of time eating off. So in that sense, the troops coming out in an order like that would, it would help.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I may at some point start thinking about that in my decision on what to have defensive CC, but I'm not that hardcore yet.
What else? Screen went away here. Quality of life changes. Oh, we can't talk about that one yet, because that one just... home village layouts.
I'm curious. What's the one we can't talk about?
Home village layouts would normally be prevented due to obstacles being in the way will be allowed to for friendly wars.
So, essentially, if you have a base like mine, I can still use it. Because I have obstacles all over the place. Is that what it's saying?
I guess so. Like, use it as a friendly challenge?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Yeah, see, I don't know.
Say that again, then. Say it again.
Home village layouts would normally be prevented due to obstacles being in the way will be allowed for friendly wars.
But how can you build the base?
Friendly wars? I don't understand what it has to do with friendly wars, because you can just put it as your war base, and that's your war base.
Maybe you don't have a slot.
It must mean for friendly challenges. Because right now, as it is, if you've got a rock, you can't. It comes up with that little tree in the corner of your base when you try and go and post it as a challenge. You can't post it if there's like a rock or a tree in the way.
But how can you build the base if there was a rock and a tree in the way in the first place?
Never mind, that's in edit mode.
I'm confused as to how you can construct a base when there's an obstacle in the way there already.
Yeah, no, I don't know what it means.
Okay, we'll skip that one until we have, maybe some brain cells to think about what that means.
When claiming clan rewards for clan games, if you do not have enough space for the claimed item, you will be given the option to select gems instead. The number of gems received is based on the normal price the specific amount the item sells for.
So again, interpretation. First of all, that's a good thing, right? That we can select and sell it for gems. But when it says you get the gems that it's retail price, that is that what the trader sells it for? So you could, let's say a shovel is 500 gems. Do you get 500 gems? Because my question is, well, my thinking about this is for the season pass, for example, or for the events, when you don't have enough space and you sell it for gems, it's only like 20, 30 gems. So is the change now that you get retail trader prices?
Probably not.
But then, what does it mean by the end of your sentence there?
I think what it means is before when you went to collect your Clan Games points, you could have exclamation points down one tier because you've got too many of that potion. You would have to go out of Clan Games into your town hall, and you would have to physically go in and sell that potion or whatever it is, so you could then go collect your Clan Games rewards. I think what it's saying now is you can select everything that you need. Like, there won't be any exclamation point saying you have no space for this. You can actually select it, and then it'll say you have too many of these, you're selling it for this many gems. I think, pretty sure that's what it is.
Damn. But
because as it, like you said, as it is right now, like if I've got too many training potions, I have to physically go out of Clan Games, go into my town hall, sell two clan training potions, just to go back into Clan Games, so I'm able to collect that reward. So I'm thinking you won't have to do that, go out, go back in, sell kind of thing. It'll just say you've got too many of this, we're giving you 10 gems. Right,
so
like
the conversion rate is still pants.
Yes. So basically how the season pass is right now, where if you go to claim a training potion, it says you've got too many and give you 10 gems. Okay. That's what that is.
I mean, it's a useful change, but sure. Okay, fine. I would have liked it if it got retail price.
Research potions now boost the laboratory speed 24 times instead of 10 times. The cost of research potions is now 120 gems, up from 70 gems in the Trader Daily Deals. So, when you use a research potion, instead of just taking 10 hours off, you're taking a whole day off of a trip.
Oh no, don't start with the whole, is it a whole day or is it 23 hours? Or...
It's a whole day that gets reduced. But you have to use the potion, which takes an hour. Who was that argued with me?
You would not let it go, huh?
Stupid ass.
You also tried to come back, remember?
Yeah. No, that was him. Yeah.
You probably wanted to argue the point again.
Probably. Stupid ass.
Okay, so... I never buy a research potion from the traders, so that one doesn't affect me. But but they're more useful now, I guess. So if you fill up all your potions, that's 5 days.
Yes.
I wonder if can you buy them in the medals, the league medals?
Yes.
And or did they say that's going up in price? Because maybe we should hoard up on them now. Right? It's just like the builder potion. Maybe they've forgotten that, you can buy them in the league shop.
That'd be good metal. That'd be good value.
Yeah. I've only just thought of this, by the way. I might have to go visit the shop.
I think I already have a bunch.
I know, but I don't think I have 5, so...
I have 1.
Well, see, there you go.
You're almost done your lab, so you don't have really any use for it.
No, but I like a bargain. If I'm using elixir runes on balls, I want to at least offset that with the joy that I'm getting cut price research potions for next time, for the next update.
Yeah, no, research potions, that would be a good deal for research potions.
They'll probably have thought of it, you just haven't announced it.
They're gonna do what they did with the builder potions. They're gonna see a rise in the builder potions at the low cost, and then they're gonna double the
next
price.
Update.
People are gonna figure it out that the research potion is a great deal. research potions out of the Clan League battles, and that's going to double in no time. Like the.
So get on that. I'm giving you a good tip. Okay.
What else? Research potions did that. Yeah, we can't do that.
Can't do what?
Okay,
What are you looking at?
Other improvements. The Grand Warden AI has been adjusted to make him less likely to follow Yeti mites. Not something that I ever have to worry about because I don't use Yetis, nor do you.
Yeah.
The Eagle Artillery will give less priority to targeting Yeti mites. Again, we don't use Yetis. The Grand Warden made less likely to follow and help. The Grand Warden made less likely to follow and help other heroes. So he won't go behind the barb, and he won't go for the queen. He'll go for the troops.
Is that a good thing? I can't remember if that's a good thing or not.
Well, if you're using something like Yetis or Lavaloon, where you've got a bulk area that you want the warden following that rather than a hero.
One of the things that I think might be useful for in that I would like is because if he is less inclined to chase some skirt and go after the queen, then if I'm doing a queen walk, then the stupid healers start healing the warden instead of the queen. Then yeah, I am all for that.
Yeah, no, me too. The Clan War League screen in the Champions League. Only the Champions League. I have a beef about this.
I wouldn't have guessed.
Will be inaccessible to any members, role Elder or below, who are not included in the Clan League roster. This is to prevent or minimize opposing clans infiltrating or spying on their rivals by joining the other opponent's clan. My beef is, why is it just Champions League? Why can't it be for everybody? Everybody has, and I mean, yes, clans lower than Champions League can close their clan, so nobody can get in during that Clan War League. Well, so can the Champions League clans close their clans so nobody can get in. So I don't like that it's just catered to the elite group because they are special. That's my 2 cents.
I agree. I'm probably not as vocal about it as you, but
I went so far as to putting something on the forum as well and questioned, and it never got answered. I got some smart-ass responses, and someone was like, maybe they're testing it out in the top league. I'm like, why would you some of the answers that I got were just bogus.
Well, that's what game testers are for.
So it bothers me that it's being catered to the top because they, for whatever reason, have more to lose because they get to possibly go to Poland for it. It's something that, should have been available to clans in every league because everybody goes through that.
I agree, unless there is some, I don't know, memory, storage, technical constraint why they cannot roll it out for everyone, then they should. They should roll it out for everyone. I can't imagine that they couldn't remove that one line of code saying if you are in Champions League, then etc. etc. I don't know what the reasoning is. I am like you. I do not know what the reasoning is. I can only fathom that is it due to resource constraints of some sort? I don't know.
And I think it's a joke because how many people at that level don't have another account or, how many mini accounts if they wanted to get into the opposing clan, or, you know, a clan that the last clan played or whatever, they could use a different account. Like, it's not them using their main accounts. They could use an account that isn't even associated with their clan to get in there. Like, people are going to find a way. I don't see...
But is it because that you don't see who those people are? Say that. Tell me what the thing is again. I thought it said you don't see who you're up against.
You see who you're up against, but you can't see the basis.
Can't see the bases, okay. No, well, read that again.
But I guess no, because if you're just a member, then you wouldn't be able to see it as well.
Yeah.
But then, again, then why not include that for everyone? Because everyone goes through that.
No, but I'm just confused as to why it's done by status, I guess. Why?
Because when you're joining a clan, most clans in Champions League, I guess, aren't just going to promote you to Elder. Like, it's not that kind of clan.
Yeah, but if you're gonna try... I mean, I guess, but you're still in the clan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you can't see the basis. You can't see anything.
That you can't see the basis during War Prep Day? Can you tell that I've not read these things very well?
No, but the Clan War League screen, the whole screen will be inaccessible to members.
So I can't. Let's say you know, in a bajillion years' time I'm in Clan War in Champions League. I can't see the seven other clans that I'm matched against. Is that what it's saying? Until we actually fight them.
No, if you're joining another clan, like if Clan War Leagues say we've already started Clan War Leagues in our clan. Somebody can come into our clan, and them being just a member...
Oh, you mean our bases?
They won't be able to see anything on our Clan War Leagues page. They won't be able to see our bases. They won't be able to see the bases.
Some of them like to watch attacks.
That's what this is saying. The Clan War League screen will be inaccessible to any member.
But then you're just going to get a bunch of people that be like, promote me to Elder so I can watch. Obviously not in Champions League because they're special, but you know, Who joins a
clan just to watch attacks?
No, but I mean, if, let's say, for example here, okay, when we go to Clan War Leagues, we may have had some people join because we've invited them pre us closing the clan, but we don't put them in leagues. Then some of them do like to follow how we're doing in leagues so that they can then sort of say, okay, they can join in with, you know, whatever chat banter is going on and going, oh no, are we going to learn at a time? And they can't see that? They're going to be like, well...
No. For our clan, they still will.
But I'm saying if we were in Champions League, that's what would happen.
Yes.
So, okay, so I am even more like, why would you do that? Then I wouldn't want that. I want them to roll it out equally, but I don't see the point. Well, I do see why they're doing that, but I don't like that they're doing that. There's other ways to stop whatever it is that they're trying to do, like the spying and things like that. I don't think it will prevent it, but I don't think that that's a good way to discourage against it, because like I was just saying, you know, you get newer members that are settling in that are missing a big facet of 7 days or however many days is left.
Maybe that's why they're just doing it in Champions League, because at that level it's the people that are supposed to be, you know, in the clan, and if they're wanting to watch attacks, they're in league. So maybe that's why it's only Champions League.
Do you like how we've swapped roles now? Now I'm outraged and you're not as outraged. Okay.
You know, as we've discussed it kind of makes more sense why they're just doing in the Champions League, because like you said, for us, it wouldn't be good because.
And this is why we chat.
In our attacks too, we've said to people, go watch this attack, see how this person did it, and they wouldn't have been able to do that. So I'm kind of glad that they're not doing it for the lowers. Because that was a tool for us, and it was a helpful tool. When somebody joins and wants to use a specific attack, you can say, look how this person used it, and tell them to go watch the attack.
Yeah, but I do feel like, so the whole, whatever the change is, I don't have the issue that I have, regardless of what the change is that they didn't do it for everyone. There's some sort of special treatment for this league, and that's the issue I have, regardless of what that change is.
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Okay. We still can't talk about that one.
What is this one that you're talking about?
Okay, but we're gonna leave it till the last. Oh my goodness. Okay. Introducing clan castle troops for friendly challenges.
You like this one. I remember you said you liked this one.
I do like this one. This function just like the clan castle troops in Legend League, in that once you set them, they remain filled and unchanged until you manually change them again. I think, especially for our clan, because people, you always want, if you're putting up a base for somebody to challenge, for somebody to hit, you want to have defense in there because you want to see a true attack. You want to see that person, how they can handle that attack. And when people have to come on, request for troops, you want them to have max troops because, that's what it's going to be in war. So it's just a hassle. And then you get, people giving whatever CCs and whatnot. So if they had, every time that they popped up a base, this is the C. I mean, it might get repetitive with the CCs that are coming out, but at least they would always have those troops. They know that, they don't have to request for troops.
Yeah, because we might not, like, the people that can give max troops might not be on.
Yeah. So for them to always have those troops, I do like that. I do like that. That was the only.
There's no negative one about that, is that?
No, that was the only thing that I liked about all of these sneak peeks. Was this. Because that was the one thing I liked about Legends League. Never having to worry about my CC because, it was guarding my base and it accidentally.
I never have a CC in my base guarding my base. It's always empty. I don't know why. I could request for troops.
I'm just saying that sometimes, before, when I was pushing, you would have CC guarding your base, and then you'd have to get another one before you get attacked again. So now,
no, but you still do.
I did like about getting to Legends League was having that set CC, never having to worry about it until you decided to change it.
But even if you're still pushing now, you still have to request for that CC. It's only for friendly challenge use.
Yes.
Yeah. So the problem that you didn't like about it still exists. Where you're pushing, you still have to request for it, you see.
No, that was just an example that I was using.
Okay.
I was just saying that when I got to Legends League, that was a nice thing where I, knew that I always had a CC in there and didn't have to worry about getting another one.
Okay.
And I don't think we can discuss the last one.
What is this one? What is it? Is it?
If I've been talking about this, we're going to be here for hours.
Tell me.
It's the hero skin, user interface, hero preview, player profile has been redesigned to look much cooler. Because I think Supercell needed to spend a whole shitload of time on this rather than other quality of life improvements that would have drastically improved the game. But no, let's give it a little bit more flashy look. So we don't need to talk about it.
I'm just here to rile you up apparently in this episode. But it could be that whoever designed this bit of the profile is not the same people that does the quality of life.
Still, it didn't need to be done. It didn't need to be a quality of life improvement because it's not really improving anything.
I think
it's not a quality of life. It's not going to improve my gameplay. The least bit.
I think as long as it's not gigantic ass sized, I'm okay with it.
When you purchase or obtain a hero skin, it will automatically open up that hero skin's UI to allow you to immediately swap skins. So every time I collect the skin now from the season pass, it's going to take me to that screen automatically so I can put it on. And do you know how annoying that's going to be?
Okay, but it's only once a month. If you want to worry about that green indicator we were just talking about. But a once a month click. Let's just be, let's choose our battles here.
I don't think it needs to automatically go there. I don't think that we need. It's in my profile. It's got.
But is it gigantic ass like it currently is, whereby you click on a profile, the first thing you see is a gigantic Barb King?
I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't want that either. That's what I'm saying. If they scaled it down to at least, meld in with the rest of the profile, like they haven't just pasted him on there, then okay, it might look better. It doesn't improve my quality of life, but it might look a little better rather than they just copied and pasted a huge ass square there with the Barb King, and it looks so out of place.
It does. Like, I don't even remember what the old profile screen looks like because we've had this crap. But I remember when they came out with this, I was not happy at all. And I bet you I could go through my phone and find an old photo of my, profile, whatever, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, that one was so awesome. Because this one, I'm used to it now, and I can't remember what the old one was like, so obviously I've gotten over it, but I still don't like it.
I remember when it first came out, it still looks like a copy and paste job, but it looks so drastically like a copy and paste job because you could see the picture underneath. Do you remember that when you looked at the builder base? It was like not aligned, so you could see stuff underneath the bit that it's covering. So it's not actually part of the profile. They've just put an overlay on top of the profile, and that's why it looks so out of place. They just needed to resize it to be like a tenth of the size.
And this just goes to the argument. I don't wear the hero skins. Yes, I purchased the season
but
pass.
Other people do.
I'm gonna put them on for dress up for Halloween because that's what Halloween is, putting on costumes. But I don't need a big ass square on my profile showing me what thing I have picked. I just don't. Like, make a separate tab or something that I don't have to go into and look at. But no, it puts it right on my profile page, and it's super huge.
Do you look at your profile page a lot?
It's an eyesore, and yes, I do, because I like to look at my truth and see which ones I have mapped. And I like to look at my profile because there's a lot of impressive things on my profile.
Oh yeah,
I'm proud of it.
I'm
proud of my purple trophy.
A lot of people like the skins. Okay, I think you and I are in the minority here, whereby we don't use them. We use the pass for someone else. But I think there's a lot of people out there that actually might enjoy it. Fair enough to them. You and I.
Give them a separate tab. Don't put it on everybody's profile and force
So
them
you're saying segregate. Okay. Cam. So any more?
No, that was the last one.
Now, did you notice? So those are all the sneak peeks that they've officially posted, right? But I noticed that on the forum there was another post saying that in other countries, other languages, that there were more quality of life changes that they didn't list in the English version.
Oh, really?
I've got them here. So, I will tell you, and then you can tell me what you think. Apparently Darian said that these ones would be in the patch notes. So, I don't know why they didn't just paste them all in one go. Okay, so they fixed an issue that so this one I thought was quite interesting. I was like, ooh, I should try this. But before they put the update out, and more. So they fixed an issue that caused heroes to double heal when the hero's ability was automatically and manually activated at the same time. So in that like split second when you pressed it at the same time it activated automatically, it would double heal. Now, that must happen like 1 in a bajillion times, but now that I know about it, I'm gonna try it. I might win the lottery one day and double heal. Particularly in war, you never know. So they're fixing that. I don't think anyone complained about that. Maybe people in Champions League, who knows. They fixed an issue where the Royal Gladiator would not throw her search shield when the ability is activated while frozen. I think a lot of people have complained about that. I've never done it, so not fussed. A problem with forced re-aiming after destroying a wall has been fixed. I'm guessing this is something to do with the Queen Walk or something like that. Again, not noticed it to an effect that I needed to have a moan about it. And then the AI of the Grand Warden has been adjusted so that it can aim more effectively while his group is frozen. So I'm assuming that this warden is not frozen. But I don't know what it means by aim more effectively. Because right now the warden just like he could be standing surrounded by defences and still wanna hit something miles apart. So but there you go, they fixed it. It's all okay. The defending royal champion, like other heroes, will now be alerted when enemies are approaching their altar. Again, I haven't noticed that. Fixed a visual bug where the graphics for the Lava Hound and Healer were offset. So this is a visual improvement, I guess. Well, I just said that.
So
but
it should fix the visual improvement of the ugly ass profile page.
Moving swiftly on, the visual effect aimed at several flying units has been corrected. And then the bug that the Electro Dragon sometimes aims twice at the same target within a single lightning chain, which could happen if he was forced to aim again while the chain was still active. I think that just means that there must have been instances where the Electro Dragon, you know how he has a chain, it must double back on itself and hit it again or something like that. I don't know. I'm just guessing. So this one I have noticed. They fixed the visual rounding bug for gold and elixir when using a rune for certain amounts of resources. So I have actually noticed that once when I used a rune, my storage would go up, but it was like 99999. I was like missing one piece of gold or something like that. So I have noticed that one. And then this one, which, again, I've not noticed this. But apparently there were inconsistencies in situations where multiple spells affected movement speed, attack speed, and damage. So, for example, I guess, poison, rage, haste abilities of heroes, baby dragons, when they're active at the same time. So if you were bugging them all in one go, and you bug them all, I don't know, maybe they combined and there was a multiplier going on, or something like that. Now the best active positive gain and the worst active negative gain are used. So did you know that? Did you know that if you had like a bajillion things happening in one go, it doesn't say what the inconsistency was. Maybe they all negated each other. Who knows? Um, or maybe you got super duper troops for super healing or something. I don't know. But that could, even though we don't notice it, if they're fixing it, we might notice a change.
We had super troops and we didn't even know.
But I'm saying from a war perspective, we might not have been noticing it now when we've like in the chaos of a war attack where you're bunging and dropping everything in one go and pressing buttons. We might not have noticed it, but depending on what those inconsistencies are, we might notice slight differences now. Not that we do the same attack every single time, but I'm just saying I don't know how big that change is.
Right.
So yeah, so those are the sort of things that they haven't announced officially as a sneak peek in English. Are you looking forward to the update?
Not really. No.
Oh, goodness. So, I will say, though, that we have been going on near an hour and a half.
Oh, okay.
So, we might not get to touch on all the other things then. But why don't we should still talk about Can't Fix Stupid. And do you want to talk about our wars or leave that for next time?
We can leave that for next one.
Okay. So, I think you had a Can't Fix Stupid, so why don't you... and it better not be the profile page.
My Can't Fix Stupid is the people that can't freaking read. You send a mail with war attacks very specifically for these people, their name, their number, and they come online. What am I hitting? What's my target?
But
That's my Can't Fix Stupid.
Is that because they're worried that the chat has the strategy has changed in chat somewhere? Because they don't read chat either, do they?
Well, they don't read mail, so I don't know. It just.
But I guess the Can't Fix Stupid is that somebody in our clan asked that, and the response was, "It's in the mail. You're hitting this," and then the next line of chat is somebody else going, "Who am I hitting?" And therefore not connecting the two that maybe I should read the mail because.
Yeah, the same person answered, "It's in mail, you're hitting this." So and that person was in the mail as well. The person that was answering these two people was in the mail as well. So obviously that person could read. Because he was helping the other two out. I know that it would be mean, but I almost want to not answer people when it's like that. Or I would be one to say, "It's in clan mail, read it." I wouldn't be giving them the number. I would say, "Go read it."
See,
because that's what you're supposed to be doing to begin with.
This is why you're the nicer one, because I've already stopped. You might not have noticed, but I don't tell them because they need to read clan mails and they shouldn't get into that habit of who am I hitting? Who am I hitting? The only reason why you might do that is if maybe war's moving quite quickly and the war general's having to make a plan and react to attacks that are happening as and when. But you would then...
We're talking the last hour of war.
Aye, but you should still actually go and say, my mail says I'm hitting this. Do you still want me to hit that? That would at least tell you and I that you've read your mail. And we can say yes, or we can say no, because this has happened, you're hitting this now. Mm-hmm. That's the only acceptable thing whereby I'm like, okay, that's fine for you to ask. But other than that, no.
I know. No, I just, some days I have more patience than others.
I just don't have any patience. This is why I am not more general very often.
You haven't been more general for a very long time.
But I have still war general more wars than you. Yes. So there is a reason why I have not war general for a while. Okay.
I don't know. I've definitely done at least 75% in the last 2 years.
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
I do.
I don't think so. And anyway, I always have to pick up your slack when you're sleeping.
Oh, what do you do? Yeah, you can hit that one. And that's all.
No.
If you even say anything. Because people ask in chat and you don't reply.
Because they should read their mails. I am of the view that due to our amazing recruitment process, we should have a group of people that have, a couple of brain cells between them and are able to function independently without being handheld. Unfortunately.
That is the dream.
That is the dream. Okay, so I guess we really have raged out. This was very much well, I mean that's why you and I have these conversations, and to so that we can be all ready for our next batch of recruits, and we've vented, and therefore it won't appear in the game. So it's cathartic.
It is.
And you got me all annoyed, and I made you less annoyed about that Champion League thing.
Yes. But I was still annoyed at the other things, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's just wait until this update comes out. I think it'll come out, early next week, and we can do another one. See.
Maybe it'll be just as exciting as it was when we got the recruitment tool, because I was pretty thrilled about that too.
But you grow to love it.
Yeah. Because I know how to use it now. And I know how to get, people in the clan by using it. So.
All right. I will let you wrap up.
We are going to wrap it up now because it's been over an hour and a half. And next time we will talk about our war streak. And we will probably have an update by the time we get to do another one. And the season will have ended, so we can talk about the new skin that'll probably be coming out. Maybe they'll do a drop. And Clan War Leagues will be around the corner by then. And
it's a bit like a job, isn't it?
We'll kind of just probably talk about, how things have progressed in our bases and whatnot again. So until then, we will see you later.
Bye.